Now, there's nothing like strong women in history, okay? And when you're older, there's a picture book with Amelia Earhart that I want to read for you. But for now, since you're a little girl, I think we're going to like Amelia Hareheart. Look at the hair. It's another name for a bunny. Okay. Amelia Hareheart was born in Kansas in 1897. She spent her summers in a burrow in Kansas City with her parents and sister, and spent winters with her grandparents in their warren in Atchison. Now, a warren is what you call a house, a home that bunnies live in. It's their group. Growing up, Amelia was very active, always hopping from one game to the next. She had a knack for sniffing out adventure and traveling wherever her lucky feet would take her. So see, this is her home and her family. Look at her hopping around looking for adventures. Kind of like a certain little girl I know, a Miss Moon who hops in the hallway. Papa tells me everything because I want to know it all, because you're very important, okay? Growing up, Amelia had a beloved dog named James Ferocious, and her favorite toy was a wooden donkey named Donk. She and her sister Muriel were very close, and Amelia was always whiskering her off on different adventures. Whiskering instead of, they had whiskers. Okay. After visiting the St. Louis World's Fair one summer, Amelia was inspired to build a roller coaster in her backyard. Definitely an adventure there. Maybe we'll start off with some Rube Goldbergs when you're a little older. The first test run gave Amelia a bruised cottontail. Uh-oh, she fell in her butt. Uh-oh. But she didn't mind. She was too happy about the feeling of soaring through the air. Amelia Hareheart realized that the world sometimes seemed lopsided. Boys were allowed to do different things than girls, but she didn't care it at all if it wasn't the norm. She climbed trees, went sledding, and hunted just like the tough boys did. Look at her doing archery. When my girls were little, they did things like archery and karate and robotics. They played in the mud. Now, they also did a lot of so-called girly things like tea parties. But it's okay to do exactly what you like. Okay? Amelia always had an ear to what strong lady hares were up to. She kept a scrapbook of newspaper clippings and photos of phenomenal females in jobs that were typically popular with male rabbits to inspire hares so. Look at her keeping her journals. After leaving school, Amelia became a nurse's aide at Spadina Military Hospital in Toronto, Canada. She moved to California where she learned to fly. So she learned where to fly where you live. Now, it was a long time ago, but isn't that cool? With the help of her sister and mother, Amelia purchased her very first airplane, a Kenner Hester. She named it the Canary because it was bright yellow. Look at how beautiful her plane is, and look at the little canary on its wing. And that's called a bi-wing plane. That means that it has two wings on each side. There weren't many female aviators before Amelia Hareheart, but she didn't let any obstacle get in her way. She became the first female pilot to fly up to 14,000 feet. Now 14,000 feet is really, really high up in the sky. And look how she made initials. Her initials. In 1928, Amelia Hareheart was picked to be the first female crew member on a transatlantic flight by somebody named George P. Duckman. When she first got his call, Amelia thought Duckman was a quack, but he was telling the truth. Look at his little duck tail. After their successful flight, Amelia and George stayed close friends. They were joined in holy matrimony in 1931. So the bunny married the duck. Soon after their wedding, Amelia Hareheart hopped in a plane and became the first female pilot to fly by herself across the Atlantic Ocean. Amelia was thumping through the glass ceiling. So she broke trends. Little secret back here about the wedding. I married your daddy to your papa. Yes, ma'am. I was at their wedding. Amelia Hareheart always wanted to hop to new heights. She wanted to be the first female to fly around the world. Amelia wasn't scared. She was made of sterner fluff than that. So along with her navigator, Fred Moomin, she set off from Miami, Florida in 1937. After a stop to refuel at Howland Island, a storm began brewing, and Amelia Hareheart sent a distress signal to the U.S. Coast Guard. That was the last that anybody heard from Amelia as she, Fred, and her airplane disappeared. So she was on a big adventure. And she did have some problems, but that's okay. You got to try things, and it's okay for things not to go right. They're not going to go right every time, baby. Nobody knows for sure what happened to Amelia Hareheart that day in 1937. Even the uncertainty of her fate was an example of her character. She happily took risks because she wanted to prove that women could reach new heights. Look at her with all her friends. To this day, Amelia Hareheart is an inspiration. She designed a line of clothing for active women and was part of an all-female pilot organization called the 99s. Although we may never know where her final flight took her, Amelia Hareheart will hop on in our memories forever. And she did exactly what she loved, which I'm sure made her very happy. Or in this case, for the theme of the book, happy. Okay? So you hop on about the house, just like you